So call the meeting of the Economic Development Authority to order on April 10th at 5 o'clock. First order of business is I would entertain a motion to approve Mrs. Mastro participating virtually.
So moved.
Have a second. Say moved by Valerie, second by Josh. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, 4-0. All right, you're official now,
Thank you.
Lois. Okay, next up on the agenda are the minutes from the March 13th meeting.
Move to approve as presented.
Okay, second. Any discussion or corrections to the minutes?
Who is second, please?
Josh?
Josh,
Okay,
me and Josh are on a roll.
Okay, hearing no discussion, all in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
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 Chair votes aye, 5-0. Okay, Ryan, can you share your screen with your presentation? Because Lois is looking to get it back on her thumb drive.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Be happy to.
Okay.
Let me get it loaded up here.
We may have to give him access to be able to do that. Yeah, you have to make him the host.
Co-host votes. There you go, beautiful.
You guys see that okay?
Yeah.
How about now? Good?
Yep.
Great.
Now we see your presenters mode. The other one was better.
Oh, the other one's better? Okay. Let's see if we can do this.
There you go. I mean, you can do it from there, Ryan, if you want. Just flip
Okay.
through it.
Sure. Well, thank you all for having me this evening on the agenda. My name is Ryan Price with Virginia Realtors. I'm the chief economist there, and I lead up our research and statistics team. Special shout out to Brittany for getting me linked in with this group, and Jennifer inviting me. I'm not going to take too much of the board's or the authority's time this evening, but wanted to just bring to your attention some housing data that we have that we think you might find useful in some ways that we use it, and other ways that, you know, agencies like yourself, other, you know, local governments have been kind of tapping into this resource for various, you know, initiatives and studies. So Virginia Realtors is the largest trade association in the state. There's currently about 37,000 agents, brokers, members all around Virginia, including right there in Fluvanna County. Now, part of this association, we have a research advisory committee, and I'm the staff liaison for this. And so really this idea came from the research advisory committee to, you know, we have all this information and data, you know, how can we use it, and how can we partner with different, you know, local governments or universities all around Virginia to really get the, you know, get the word out and use the data to influence the housing supply and help with economic development initiatives. So one of the strategic focus areas really is this data sharing and data for the use of planning, which is what I'm going to cover today. Now, I mentioned we have a lot of housing data. We have, you know, 17 different multiple listing services in Virginia, believe it or not. And these are, you know, these are listing services where realtors, you know, either list properties or, you know, they go out there and provide services for buyer clients, for seller clients. And so what we do is we take all this information from 17 sources and we merge them by city and county, all cities and counties in Virginia. We have this data set. It's fairly unique. There isn't one like this in other places. You know, if you have to rely on your local MLS, for example, sure, you can pull that data, but there might be some gaps in the activity because, you know, places like Fluvanna and others that are kind of on the border between different MLS geographies, you know, the agents will list their properties in one MLS and not in another. And so what this does is it eliminates that and basically brings all of the transaction level data into one data set that we can study and analyze and report out on. Now, we cover a lot of metrics in this data. You know, some of the standard metrics would be, you know, the sales activity that's happening in a community, the new contract activity, which is like a pending sale, sort of the pulse of the market. Pricing trends is a big one, right? Down to the type of home, whether it be single family, townhomes, condos, the price points of those over time, how they're trending, and importantly, supply trends, which we know is a pretty big issue in most communities in Virginia, an undersupply of housing. And so we're able to monitor supply in real time with this data. So how have we been using this? We have a lot of reporting that we do. So we get this data every month we pull it from the MLSs, and we do a statewide report, and the media picks this up. You guys may have seen this occasionally in the Richmond market. They tend to pick it up. We also do local reporting for 22, we're up to 22 regions now, including Charlottesville. So Fluvanna is part of the Charlottesville reporting area. And so if you guys have not seen these reports, definitely let me know, and I can put you in touch with somebody over at the Charlottesville Association of Realtors and make sure that you guys get on the distribution for this. But it breaks down the trends right there in Fluvanna County: sales, pending sales, price trends, inventory, really what's driving the market, and also the local economy right there in the region, Central Virginia. We also do presentations on housing market all over Virginia. We'd be happy to come there in person sometime if you guys would like an overview on sort of the state of the economy and the housing market locally and in Virginia. So we do that we use the data for that. And then sort of what we're talking about tonight is this using the data to work on housing studies or planning initiatives. I've listed a few here that we've participated in over the past couple of years. A lot of stuff there in Central Virginia, the Shenandoah, a couple housing studies. And so they're using the transaction level data to really as a key input into sort of the housing needs of the community and identifying the gaps in potential, needed housing that are price points that are not in the market currently. Virginia Beach has also used this for not only housing study, but also regular reporting that they do on sort of the state of their local housing market. And then down in Southern Virginia as well. And then the Fredericksburg EDA actually uses it to report out on the current market conditions in their community. So going to wrap it up. Just a couple of ideas that are out there, and happy to take any questions or thoughts, but we want to be a resource for you all. And we have a lot of data. We have a team of researchers, ready and willing to jump into a local initiative, using our research advisory committee as kind of a conduit for that. But we would be happy to help out if you guys have a housing study or a planning initiative that's under the way there in the county. Happy to come there in person and present either at a panel or at a public hearing on kind of, the housing needs and sort of the state of the market. And then also more strategic, we could also use the data for business development activities. I know a lot of when firms are looking to, relocate in a certain community, housing tends to be one of the most talked about factors when they're assessing whether or not to move to the community. So with that, I'll leave you guys with some resources on our website. We got lots of data out there, reports. I do a Rooflines podcast bi-weekly. We also have a quarterly webinar where we dive into some, most recent kind of topical economic data, and then Facebook Live every month. But with that, happy to take any questions, and thank you guys again for having me on the agenda.
Anybody have questions for him?
Great presentation, thank you.
I have some questions, Ryan.
Yeah.
So can you talk to us a little bit about what we're seeing trend wise statewide? Because I know that's probably where your easiest numbers are, to our average days on market and average listed selling price right now. Are we seeing a flat trend, downtrend, or what?
Yeah, we're seeing the homes are staying on the market longer on average. So yeah, at the state level, it's about a month. Homes are staying on a month. Locally, I'd imagine, I don't have the data right in front of me, but it'd be probably lower than a month. So yeah, homes are staying on the market longer, and sellers are not getting their asking price on average. So they're getting, when we look at the average sold to list price ratio, it shows us the percentage of their asking price that they actually close on. And this dipped below 100%. 100% means that they get their asking price. Dipped below 100% back in the fall. And this is after peaking, at about 104% believe it or not, for the entire state of Virginia. So sellers were getting 4% over their asking price on average. This is now down to about 99, 98%. And we expect that these two metrics are going to continue trending in that direction as the market has slowed down.
Okay, great. So that tells us that we may have seen the top of the market.
You know, it depends on where you are, obviously, but you know, there are communities that have certainly seen a pretty dramatic slowdown. And then, you know, in some communities, not as much in Virginia, other places around the country have seen price corrections taking place. Haven't seen that pop up in too many places yet in Virginia. Maybe more of sort of the coastal and second home communities where that had a surge in demand over the past couple of years. But there are still communities all around Virginia where prices are actually still rising, albeit a little bit slower than they had been.
Right. So do you have reports that talk about affordability index down at the community level, as well as what the ratio or the average single family to multifamily ratio is statewide? And then what it looks like in the rural counties? Because we have like 0 multifamily here.
Yeah, when you say the ratio, do you mean just like the proportion of single family versus the multifamily?
Yes.
Yeah, we do have that information. You know, we have access obviously to the public data sites like census and the building permit survey, but then we also have you know, the sales data, the transaction level data by property type. And you're right, I mean, there's really not it's pretty homogeneous housing stock there from what I can see. But yeah, we do have those data for local.
How would we get that information from you?
Yeah, you could shoot me an email either to our team, which is research@virginiarealtors.org, and you know, we'll hop on that and send it over, or you can just email me directly. But yeah, we have it. We can pull it from the Census Bureau, and then we also have the proportions of the transactions. Now, the transactions, keep in mind, this isn't necessarily representative of the full housing stock. It's really just what has been moving and selling over the past few years.
Got it. Okay.
I have a couple of questions, Ryan.
Sure.
Valerie Mountain here. You mentioned that the Fredericksburg DDA uses your data in their reports. What kind of data elements are they looking at?
So they're specifically looking at price points and
Okay.
sales activity by property type. So they want to know, what are the pricing trends for single family homes in their community, for townhomes, condos, and then what is the market volume or activity that's underway. And they usually look at this on an annual basis. I think it plugs into a reporting package that they put together. So it tends to be fiscal year with what they request.
Okay. And is there a cost associated with this data?
There is not.
It's free.
Yeah, we're a nonprofit and we're happy to provide it. So yeah, it's a benefit for our members, and then you know, we want our members to be engaged with their local communities, and so we offer it as a service that's free of charge.
Okay.
Ryan, you had mentioned that businesses use this data if they're looking to migrate their big company to, say, Fluvanna County.
Mm-hmm.
Data are they looking at, and what do they find favorable?
Well, I have not put together a business, you know, proposal for Fluvanna County, so I can't really speak to that. But what I can say is that other places have used this type of information when they're putting together their package to attract businesses. So what is the median price? What is the housing affordability? Is that the housing stock that's in your community? Is it going to meet the needs of the workforce that I'm potentially bringing to your community? So they look at housing and the availability of housing very closely when doing site selections and things like that. I can't say that I've evaluated Fluvanna on its attractiveness, but this type of data is an input into kind of a bigger, you know, a package that you would provide to a business.
There is a magazine called Site Development, which companies use to search out areas to which they want to bring their businesses to. It's available. And there was a big article on safety. If the communities are safe. Do you collect that kind of data?
So when you say safe, are you talking about crime statistics?
Yes.
I do not. No, we do not have crime statistics, but I know that local police departments do track that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Ryan, this is Brittany. Do you
Brittany.
have, hey, do you have a county that would be in comparison to ours? As far as like our rural character and kind of the way things are set currently with our infrastructure that you're already working with?
You know, we do a lot of work with the greater Piedmont region, which sort of comes to mind for me. I mean, it's still rural character, experiencing some growing pains, you know, limited, you know, townhomes or condos, really just single family housing stock. So we've been doing a lot of work with them and have provided housing data for the, you know, a detailed housing study. We were just one component of the study, but we, our data fed into the housing needs assessment.
Thank you.
Ben, Josh, anything?
That's a great presentation. Thank you.
Anything else, Lois?
Thank you. Thank you, Ryan, for all your input.
Yeah,
Thanks,
please, thanks for having me, and please feel free to reach out to myself or my team or, you know, via Brittany, and we can be looking forward to collaborating potentially in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
That's good.
Jennifer, do you use their data?
I have not used their data, but I use a lot of the exact same data.
Okay,
So to answer Lois's question, they're usually looking at their median household income, the, you know, average sales on, or their market. There's a bunch of stuff that they look at.
okay.
And mostly for our retailers. Businesses.
I mean, where do you get your data from? Is it?
Esri, so I get a lot of it from
Oh, okay.
Esri, but then I get it from CAR.
Okay.
What
I like
CAR-
Esri.
Yeah, in Charlottesville
Charlottesville,
area.
Alabama. Yeah,
Yeah.
and if anybody ever needs any of the listing report or the quarterly reports, I can send them. And any data really, I mean, we do compare a lot of economic development and housing with like the RPR research team in Richmond, and just providing statewide down to local areas and being able to kind of zoom in on different, that's what I was asking him, does he already have a county like our size that he works with? Because obviously it's very localized information. So I would say our local reports are sometimes more effective than looking at their statewide reports, because he compared us to Fredericksburg, and I'm like, not really, you know, so. And in saying that, like, if y'all need anything local. I'm
Not in 3 centuries.
Right. But if there, I mean, but if y'all ever need anything, like personally or for ED.
So I have actually reached out to Brandon once or twice for some data on some of the projects I'm working on. But additionally to the comparison, we're gonna compare with what we're competing with. So that's gonna be Goochland, Louisa, Orange. We don't compare with Albemarle, but Albemarle and some bands. Usually it's our bordering pieces, but
What about Nelson?
we don't really compare with Nelson. We don't compete with them. Because most of the projects we're looking at are in the Zion Crossroads area, so they're gonna wanna get up and down 64. So the day will come, I'm sure. So,
All right, anything else before we move on to the next agenda item? That would be you, Mr. Hudson.
Oh, I'm sorry. Withdrawal, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. And not very much activity on the treasurer side of the ledger for this meeting. In fact, the only change came in the IDA account. It's the last one, a deposit for $5.31, I believe. Yeah.
Wow.
I think that's for the last 30 days. Also, it's not reflected on there is one check that was written to the Bowling St. John's something attorney group. He's the attorney that provides legal
that might be
services.
the one we can look for. Yeah.
This one, the 1,300.
$1,312.50. That was written in April. And that'll be reflected on the next month's activity. Otherwise, all the information on there is accurate. And with respect to the opportunity fund, no change in the opportunity fund account this month.
Well,
Yes, sir.
Ms. Schmack was kind enough to give me another bill for you to
Oh,
pay.
that's wonderful.
So if you would make a motion to give you permission to pay it. We'll approve that now.
Okay, fantastic. I move that we, accept an invoice from the Valley Publishing, company in the amount of $135 for the EDA to make this payment.
And that's for
Well,
the
For an ad we
magazine
already
or
approved.
then
yeah,
the
it's not
the
a-
review. Okay,
It was for the,
I'll second that motion.
it was for the one we put in there for the counseling sessions.
yeah.
So, we have a motion by Ben, Lois, and a second by Valerie. Any further discussion? All in favor of approving the check writing, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. It's at 6-0. While we're on the treasurer's report, interest rates are now actually paying something. So I would like us to put some of the excess cash that we have in both the accounts into short-term CDs. I'm going to open it up for discussion, and then if we're all agreed, we can have a motion to approve it.
All right, are there any guidelines from the county as to how we can invest?
Well, it's
Or how much?
CDs aren't investable. They're not an investment, so it's just another banking account.
It's just not a bank.
Yeah.
Okay,
Would be with this.
CDs at banks are deposits, and I'm putting air quotes around it, but it's to
Yep.
the advantage of the bank to have a CD versus a deposit, because they do not have to have that amount available. You know, they talk about liquidity.
It
And
doesn't keep against their requirements. You're exactly right, Lois.
so I'm assuming this is going to be Atlantic Union, and they're doing what, 4%?
Yeah, they're doing right at 4%
months.
for a 9-month or a 17-month.
Okay,
So what do you think, people?
well, the interest rates are going to go up because the feds are going to do a 25-point hike come in May.
Yep.
I think it makes sense. When's the Fed meeting in May?
I think it's May 13th, if I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's May 13th.
For these sorts of things, I mean, the only thing that comes to mind is whatever you're about to put in a CD instrument. I mean, is anything earmarked that for those funds?
Right.
Nothing earmarked for funds.
Mm-hmm.
As I look back over the,
You could
fund balance.
also ladder,
yeah,
Rudy.
I know, yep. So as I look back over the fund balance, it looks like we have a low of $24,000.
That sounds like, at least for the last 2 years.
We're going all the way back to 2019.
Yeah.
So almost 4 years.
Mhm.
So if we were to look at doing $2,750, just taking half of it out and putting it in there, that would give us a little bit, and a little bit is more than what we're making now. I bet you it'd be more than $5.
I'm pretty sure we do. So discussion is at 7,500.
That's, I'm just putting it out there. I just want to have a little bit of discussion about it so we can come to a meeting of the minds.
Is there, I'm sorry. Is there a minimum that we have to invest?
I don't think so. I mean, we can double check that.
Mhm.
But
And also, you should take into account if there's any penalty if you do early withdrawal.
Yeah.
So the 7,500s are coming out of the 25,000 that we got going now. Is that what you're saying?
see, that's just the initial conversation, Lois. We'll let the rest of the folks figure out if that's where we want to be or not.
Okay.
Josh is trying to get a word in. He's so polite. He's just,
So, is there much difference between the 9-month and the 17-month as far
they're
as?
exactly the same.
Then I would suggest we do the 9-month if rates are gonna go up. That way we are still making money, but not
Yep.
locking it in if it does go in our favor.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, supposedly what they're, who knows? And I'm the last person that knows, but supposedly by December, the rates will be dropping.
What are we thinking, people? Yay, nay?
I certainly support the idea. I tend to like the, I tend to go a little aggressive on these sorts of things, so really back if I'm too far out in space. I tend to think, about 60% for the IDA and I think there's 70% for the opportunity. I think for the opportunity, because the opportunity one hasn't moved
Hasn't moved in
at
a
all,
long years.
since it's possible.
Well, Jennifer says that we may be seeing some site improvement money coming out of that, so. So we'd want to make sure that we did enough. Do you have any idea of a dollar amount?
You'd probably be okay with what you're thinking,
Okay.
but
60 to 70%.
I can't read the tea leaves, right? So what I'm thinking is gonna happen, because that opportunity fund is basically all just for the Zion Crossroads area, the shovel ready program. And I feel like one does it, it's gonna make that domino effect. So I can't tell you who else will come to the table saying, oh yeah, this is attractive, let's do this thing. So,
First of all, I agree with Rudy about doing this CD because I had been thinking about it for a long time and I couldn't understand why we had that 35,000 just. So that's number one. Number two, I'm getting the impression that everybody wants to do it. We're just trying to figure out how to do it. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think you're spot on, Lois. You were trying to get word in.
I just want to ask, do we do anything socially or digitally with advertising for economic development?
I do.
But that's on the government side, not the EDA.
Mhm.
Does the EDA do it?
I mean, we do the corner in
Yeah.
Savannah Review.
But do we do anything like virtually?
No, not at this point. We don't have anybody to do that. So we'd have to, first we'd have to have a site, which we don't have.
Will we, is that a?
Well, I mean,
part?
we don't have any money. I
Right.
mean, $20,000 doesn't go very far.
Rudy,
Yeah.
Rudy, if we're going 9 months, right? And
Uh-huh.
you don't put all of the money in, we should ask Atlantic Union, what is their penalty for early withdrawal? If the penalty is like the last month, then so what? You know, that's not a big deal in comparison to everything else. At least we get,
There's a way to hedge against that, Lois. I mean, if they're paying the same 4% on a $5,000 deposit or a $10,000 deposit, then we can just get $5,000. And then if we have to cash one out, the penalty is minimal.
excellent.
So,
Okay,
so I guess what we need, since we all seem to be in agreement that we want to do this, is we need a dollar amount. And then give Ben permission to go ahead and go to Atlantic Union and set it up accordingly.
but I like the idea of doing multiple $5,000 ones. That makes the most sense. Ben was saying 60% for the opportunity fund, which would be 21,000. So 4 at 5,000 each would be 20,000. And that would leave 15,000 in the bank account for site improvement. Is that sufficient?
I don't know what the terms and conditions are on that money are. I don't know if the board, when they gave it to.
But hell,
them.
as slow as everything moves, it'll be 6 months before they get it anyway.
But, I think it'll be fine.
You think we'd be fine?
So we're looking at 20,000 of
Of the.
proposal for the opportunity fund, and then what for the IDA?
Well, if we did 50% in the IDA, that would be 12,500. Do we want to go with 5,000 each?
Or do you want to do?
Or do you want to do a bunch of 2,500s?
We could do 15,000. I mean, we,
Or bump it up to 15,000
Yeah.
is free?
because the most we've had in a year, payment wise, that wasn't coming from somebody else, is the $8,000, $12,000 that we did in 22. And 8,000 of that was the pitch grant. So we're only looking at about $4,000 or $5,000 a year in expenses. So if we put 15, that would still give us at least 2 years worth of operating expenses, and account.
So that would be 60% out of each.
And we
I
just
would
put that
mention-
down.
Since you're now laddering and you are doing multiple purchases, are we being too conservative?
Let's get our feet wet, Lois.
Okay,
But I like the way you think.
Because we're gonna tie up money, we're supposed to do it in a resolution form, but I'm not an attorney. But if I remember correctly, it should be in a resolution form.
Okay. So the resolution would be to authorize $15,000 from the IDA account and $20,000 from the Opportunity Fund to go into CDs.
You said 20,000?
Yep,
In $5,000.
in $5,000.
5,000 increments.
and so they're all going to be purchased at once, or they being laddered?
We'll let the treasurer figure that one out when he goes in.
I'll give you the best advice on that.
So we have, who wants to read this resolution that Jennifer just wrote?
I didn't write it, I just started writing, scribbling. But we're gonna need to get it formalized at some point, but yeah.
So let's do it as a motion and then we'll do the resolution at the next meeting,
Okay,
okay?
that would be, okay, that's helpful.
So we need a motion,
Whatever we said. So
so,
moved. 15,000 out of the IDA fund to be deposited in certificates of deposit of $5,000 increments.
okay,
And
and 20,000,
20,000 from the Opportunity Fund, also in 5,000 increments
okay?
At,
You get that, Lois?
at Atlantic Union?
for 9 months, for
Yeah.
9 months each, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that we need to be specific as the bank, but if you want to put that in there, we can do that.
No, that's fine. If it's acceptable to Jennifer, it's absolutely fine by me. You know, I just,
All right, so we have a motion on the floor. I would entertain a second. Do we need any further discussion or can I call the vote?
who seconded?
Ben,
Call the motion, who second?
Ben
Okay,
was the second.
thank you.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, 6-0. Yay, we did something. All right, county report is up next, Jennifer. Thank you very much, Mr. Treasurer.
Whoa. Well,
Gave you real work to do, man.
You did.
I'll try and make it quick. So a summary of economic activity for the month of March. We had 10 existing business visits / calls. This is any time that we spend quite a bit of time with any of our existing businesses. Partner agencies, networking events, conferences attended 9. Other activities 14, prospects, real estate inquiries 2, commercial kitchen inquiries 1, and small business referrals. We did not make any referrals this month. Recent rezonings and special use permits at the Planning Commission, April 11th, there will be 2 public hearings. One for a special use permit for Hardware Hills Winery. They are expanding. They are down in the Scottsville area, if you're not familiar with them. They are going to be constructing a special event facility as well as a new wine production space. The vineyard itself is on 4.5 acres. It's 42 acres.
So that was last night, or that's tomorrow night?
It's tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow's planning commission for a special use permit for a special event facility. Then there's also a public hearing for a rezoning request for 2987 Lake Monticello Road. If you're not familiar with this, this is the old Fluvanna Review Building. It's brown. It's kind of done with the building there. It is a combination of 2 parcels of A1 and R4 zoning. They are looking to rezone to business convenience zoning for that particular building.
What is business convenience zoning?
You can ask that.
Well, then you should know the answer.
I know what B1 is. So it's specifically, goes down the for different uses. So you've got the B1, which is more of, it's a little bit more inclusive, whereas the business convenience goes a little bit more specific and, but this one is also proffering stuff out. So I can't remember which ones they're proffering out, which ones they're keeping. But I do know specifically they're keeping like arts, daycare facilities, those types of uses. So
Isn't it so you can't have like certain like vaping stores and tattoo parlors and stuff? like
yes,
that?
and that's why it's kind of, this one has become extremely narrow is what they're gonna do because it is in the middle of the residential area. So the intent is to rezone it so that his end game is to sell it. So he's got a couple interests and each one of them fit into BC.
Got it.
Congratulations to Unique Designs.
Who's the owner?
Jody Jones. She has taken over, if you recognize the building right across the street of here, the Scrappy Elephant Space. They do paint and sip, kids crafts. They also sell handmade gifts, home decor, and items from local artists. So if you haven't been by there, they are a really neat place. So this is a couple of pictures of their inside. She was setting up for the kids' camp when I took this picture. The chamber has a couple of things that are coming up. Wednesday, April 26th, they're going to do their second annual Women's Day refresh at Camp Friendship. This is like one of those unique opportunities to get in Camp Friendship if you've never done it. Really neat, or excuse me, it's open to the public. So it's a unique event. Again, April 26th. The Fluvanna Chamber Breakfast is now back. The next one is April 25th at the Fluvanna Library. So
We had about 35 people with the last one. That's pretty cool.
yeah.
Good turnout.
So those are back and active. It should probably travel around a little bit. So the next one's at Fluvanna Library. I will let you know next month where they decide to land for the next one. I would be remiss if I didn't tell you about one of our partners. We're continuing the business visits here on Main Street, the Small Business Development Center. Oops. Stops in, they are in the chamber building. That's real productive. We've got 2-3 visitors a day. So that's each visit covered. So we're kind of going back up. I know the last time I reported, December was non-existent, in January 1. So
And they're doing the chamber office now, right?
they are doing the chamber office. Yes.
That's better.
So really
The
excited.
legal building's scary.
Well, it's going up that hill, and so it's hard to find GPS and you're across the street. So, that's it. That's all I've got for the,
Was that April 27th?
April
For-
3rd.
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
12 to 4:30.
Any questions for Jennifer?
Any movement on Wolfpack?
I have not talked to them in the recent month, but they're still continuing to talk to.
Grocery, urgent.
Interested parties, because they've got a couple different components.
Right.
So. So nothing to share at this point.
Okay. So how come mine is different? Have the chairs report down at the bottom.
That is odd. Apparently I can't follow my own rules.
Lois, do you have an ed tech report for us?
They did not have an official meeting, so there are no minutes.
Okay, great, that's easy. And the chair has nothing to report. The one thing I wanted to cover, we took care of. So at this time, seeing that we have a visitor in the room, I would like to open it up for public comments.
Hello.
Hi, Ellen.
Just an interested party.
Okay. This time I will close public comments and then on to our unfinished business.
Could you
Yes.
please tell me who our visitor was?
He didn't give us his name.
Alan David.
Oh, okay. Hey, Alan.
Hello.
So the last thing we have to do in unfinished business is we have to approve the amendment to the bylaws. As Jennifer reminded me, we wanted to codify the public comments and where that comes and what the public comments are. So if you go to page 6 of 9 of the bylaws attachment, you'll see the language that we have in there.
I have it on the screen.
No, good.
I think last meeting, we talked about bumping it from 5 to 3 minutes. We can bump it back up. At year 3.
3 is good. All right, so any discussion on this before I call for a motion to approve it?
The additional comments or the additional changes would be the approval of a consent agenda item.
That's right.
In the order of business, as well as the addition of presentations, and we're formalizing the public comment section.
So the red stuff,
Yes, that's the only thing.
and that's what it's gonna look like if we approve it.
That is correct.
Okay.
It'll look just like that,
Any
as well as the, as well as the public comment.
Any questions for Jennifer on that?
This is what we're already doing, right? Like where we
Pretty
got
much,
the
we're just trying to
meeting.
codify it.
Advantages over 5 minutes versus 3 minutes, disadvantages.
Well, you know, we get so many people in here, giving them 5 minutes.
So here's the comment. So we're gonna make a motion first and we can make comment.
I don't care one way or the other, Robert's rules are kind of flexible right now.
Is that by limiting the time, people having with concise comments, they don't need longer. We have the ability to extend time. Also the chair, based on time, convenience of time, can limit the time. So I think that the way we have this written gives us flexibility to say, hey, you can keep going, or we've got a large crowd of folks who want to, share their love and we want to, kind of limit the time.
And we also remember, we bump up against another meeting at 6 o'clock.
Yeah,
So we need to be judicious of our use of this room.
So I think this gives us a lot of flexibility to kind of manage the public comment piece.
It also, in the interest of time, we can bump it down to even 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, I think this really gives a lot of flexibility.
But it also allows you to go over. So we added that too.
Any other questions?
Okay.
I would entertain a motion to approve the
It's all right.
changes. Oh, it's a resolution.
Sorry.
Okay, I would like somebody to read the resolution.
Okay, a resolution to amend and re-adopt bylaws for the Economic Development Authority. We have a typo there, of Fluvanna County, Virginia. Whereas the Economic Development Authority of Fluvanna County, Virginia, the authority, maintains bylaws as authorized by Virginia Code 15.2-4905, paren 10, close paren, which the authority last re-adopted on August 8th, 2022. Whereas the board of directors of the authority finds it to be in the authority's, county's, and public's best interest to amend and re-adopt the bylaws, and whereas notice was provided at the authority March 13, 2023 meeting of an intent to amend the bylaws in this fashion according to Article 8, Section 1 of such bylaws. Now therefore be it resolved on this
No,
Sorry about that.
10th day of April 2023, that the Economic Development Authority of Fluvanna County, Virginia hereby amends its bylaws of August 8th of 2022.
Second.
okay,
Okay, so we got those, the development is misspelled and then the date.
Who's second, please?
That was
Josh.
Josh,
Thank
We're
you.
on a roll, Lois.
okay. Do we need any further discussion? All right, I'll do a roll call vote. Valerie,
Yes, aye.
Brittany,
aye.
Josh,
Aye.
Lois,
Yeah,
Ben,
Aye.
chair votes aye, 6-0. And I will sign the corrected copy of this
That's
when we
fine.
finish it.
Yeah, that gives us authority for that one. Mhm.
Jennifer, if you wish me to include it in the minutes, please send me that. Thank you, Jennifer.
Yes, ma'am. That's just all the original, that whole your signature.
Okay. All right, do we have any new business?
I just want to ask further about the website situation. What would it take? Like, I mean, can somebody volunteer time to build a website?
I guess I could. I guess the other thing would be what content do we have to put on there? And how would you create the content? I mean, if we want to do it as just a brochure, that's probably the easiest way to start.
The landing page?
Mhm.
Mm.
And then use it to redirect to other partners, maybe to the
Yeah.
SBDC, the chamber. The
And like
county.
your,
My
So
concern,
typically, it's under the
right,
county's purview,
Yeah.
and so the Economic Development Authority would have a page, and then we could build it out, and, you know, it's kind of under the big frame, because you also have to have the, you have to keep all the old copies. So you have to have that record protection
Compliance.
piece,
Right,
so, and then to Rudy's point, also, did you know websites have to be ADA compliant?
yes.
So it also has to check those boxes. So there is a little bit of a page, but we can certainly create a bigger.
or even with the page we have where we could direct traffic, like through a funnel from like social media and things to be able to advertise. And do things like the grants and stuff.
yeah, for us to do it without falling under the county's purview would be onerous.
We couldn't do it.
I mean, we don't have the resources.
Yeah,
And you, but you mean by financially?
No,
no,
time, people,
Time.
resources. I mean, because we have this compliance piece, the reporting piece,
the
you've
ADA,
got, FOIA.
Mhm.
Everything that goes on the website is FOIAble, right? So it's, and you need somebody to manage all that. And there's only 6 of us right now. And at least 4 of us have jobs. So, but I think putting it, building out what's underneath the county's site might be helpful.
but that information is kept up to date anyway, isn't it?
I'm sorry?
The information on the county, on the EDA, on the county's website is kept up to date.
Yes.
My biggest concern is that we don't have anybody who's going to manage any traffic. All of it's gonna end up going to Jennifer, so,
There is an argument to be made, though, to purchasing a URL and redirecting the URL to land on that page. So Fluvanna County Economic Development. Right, and then it just lands back at the county's page. I can see there could be some usefulness in that, because when people Google, they Google economic development.
So the Fluvanna County Economic Development is me. You guys would be the
Right.
authority. So,
When people Google, they do economic development,
right, and that's me.
right,
right, but
And so the page that is for economic development
it's
is,
gonna go to Jennifer.
yes.
yours,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. So, but either way, so,
But the
but,
more people we have, the more places they have to enter into the system, the better it is.
right, but that's why you do website optimization or webpage optimization to boost all of that so that it grabs everything, no matter what URL you stick in there.
And are we?
So that is actually something I'm working on right now as part of the economic development strategic plan is updating all of that stuff, our materials, because we just had bare bones. So, it's a baby step process right now because it's just me. But hopefully the board will approve my position and we'll have a new position in July.
So that'd be great,
Yes, so that they will do small business and tourism development.
okay,
So then we'll have a little bit more bandwidth to,
sure.
Get presents.
yes, but that is on my radar is to update the website and do a full. We're also working on a tourism rebranding campaign right now too. So bits and pieces. We're
Keep
getting,
me posted, because before I was a
Sure.
realtor, I was a marketing consultant for the Yellow Pages, and that's all we did.
okay, yeah.
So I can put you in touch with some folks.
Somebody missed this and I apologize if I did. So depending on the amount of content for a website and such that we was talking about, would this possibly be a good opportunity maybe for a part-time employee if the county board of supervisors be willing to fund a part-time person?
That's what we're trying to get.
Yeah.
Jennifer's trying to get a part-timer for her right
My
now.
first one, it's gonna be a full-time position. So yes, we'll have a full-time position and then, as we continue to get busy.
And I was, and just to put a plug, really indicated that some of us are working from time to time still. And plug is, we have a business department and a marketing department over at the high school.
Yes.
It would be nice if a 17, 18-year-old junior, senior, who's done 1 or 2 segments in the business department
Mhm.
would be willing to do a part-time. Because we had, a lot of my kids actually work at other places in the community, like in Food Line and at the pizza place and other, and I see them all the time. So I know they work, so maybe this is a good opportunity for them to do a part-time job.
It's funny, because it's like you're reading my brain, like all the stuff that's in it going on in here. So I'm actually working with Virginia Career Works to start some apprenticeship programs. And, you know, maybe it is reaching back out to the high school and saying, hey, do you want to reactivate the cooperative program or whatever that is. So we have had some other discussions about
A lot of
doing that.
benefits in that for them. It gives them a part-time job.
Yeah.
It gives them a look into the county local government.
Mhm.
Puts a little money in their pocket. It's like that a lot of benefits for the student.
Yes,
Say,
yes,
get student.
absolutely.
So thank you.
And it might be even, you know, more beneficial to do a local student versus, you know, the other internships that we can do. So, great idea.
Anything else from new business? We do not have a closed session today. So unless there's something else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Josh,
I'll second.
second by Valerie, all in favor?
Nice.
Lois?
Yes.
Aye. Chair votes aye 6-0. All right, folks, we'll see you in a month.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you.